I'm ready whenever you are.
Awesome. Jeanette, thanks so much. My name is Bill Bisset, graduate of Marshall from Huntington originally, but thanks for coming out today. I know it's a sunny day, so that's going to cut our numbers probably in half right there because nothing like sunny days. But appreciate you coming out. I'll try to make this as painless as possible. Got a smaller group, so if you have questions, please raise your hand. Happy to take questions. I'll either answer or evade them, as I like to say. So just feel free to ask or give me a shout if you want to ask any questions. We could begin with kind of a lightning round. Like start over here, just your major, where you are in school, and where do you call home?
I'm a business entrepreneurship major. I'm a freshman, and home to me is Bluefield. It's about 3 hours from here.
Mercer County.
Yes.
Yep. West Virginia side or Virginia side?
West Virginia.
Hot dog. Okay. Have you had any classes with Ben Ang yet?
No.
Okay. He knows entrepreneurship all day. He teaches here. He's a great guy. ENG last name. Check him out.
Okay.
Yep. Good guy.
You're gonna have to go. Okay.
Sorry.
I'm a first semester senior majoring in finance, and Barbersville's my home.
Oh, outstanding. That's where I grew up. Outstanding.
My major is human resource, and I'm from France, and it's my last year of undergraduate.
Oh, very good. What are you going to do after that?
Master's degree.
Okay.
France.
Going to go here or somewhere else?
France.
Oh, okay. Very good. Safe travels. Good luck. Ma'am?
My major is MIS. I am a sophomore and in Charleston.
I'm a business management major. I'm a graduate student, and my home is Kermit.
I know Kermit.
I'm a senior majoring in management from Nitro, West Virginia.
Thank you.
I'm an accounting major, senior, and my home is Winfield.
Ohio?
No, Putnam County.
Winfield. Gotcha. My apologies. It's in Medfield. I'm sorry. Gotcha. Winfield. Right. Yeah, thank you. Are you interviewing for a job today or why dressed up?
The Career Expo.
Second?
Career Expo.
Oh, career expo. That makes sense. Gotcha. Go ahead.
My major is supply chain management, and I'm a senior.
Good.
I don't graduate. I will graduate.
Thank you all for being here. Like I said, we'll go along here and tell you a little bit about me, and then I'd like to get into these top 10 lessons. And I always say, keep what you think helps, get rid of what you don't think helps. But these are things, my careers kind of take a circuitous route. You know, doors have opened, I went through them, and I've tried to think of 10 things that have helped me that I've learned over time that might help you. So maybe it will, maybe it won't, but you know, it's a free lecture, so we'll see what happens. See if it's any good. But 3 degrees from Marshall, undergraduate, Master's of Arts in Journalism, and doctorate. Really love this place. Grew up nearby it, and always just, I'm so thankful for what Marshall did for me. Mostly a public relations person by experience and career, political, public, and private public relations, communicating to a bigger group about a person or organization. That's pretty much what I've done my whole career. West Virginia and Appalachian. And last year, October 2021, I got a call from Senator Capito who asked me to be her state director. And I knew her before she was even in Congress. I was very excited about that. I was running a Huntington Regional Chamber beforehand, 2016, 2022. But when the senator called, really exciting opportunity. And I'll talk about what a state director does here in a second. Before the chamber, I ran the Kentucky Coal Association out of Lexington, Kentucky, basically an advocate for the coal industry in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Before that, I was the chief of staff and senior vice president for communications here at Marshall University. So pretty familiar with the institution, and worked a bunch for 2005 to 2010. That was a lot of work, a lot of hours, but it was great working for my alma mater. The center I worked for, she has her undergraduate degree from Duke, her master's from UVA in education. She actually worked in higher education as well at Washington State. Those are her committee assignments. Probably the one you want to remember is Environment and Public Works. She's the ranking member. Her party is not in power in the Senate right now, but being the ranking member gives her a lot of influence about regulations, laws, et cetera, involving environment and public works, such as the recent train derailment in Ohio. There's a big hearing tomorrow on that. She'll be very, very involved in that. She's smart. She's funny. She's very appreciative. Every time I drop her off at her house, she's like, thank you. I'm like, You're welcome, I work for you. But she's just, I pick my bosses very carefully. And that's not one of the top 10, but you're gonna wanna pick your bosses very carefully. It's not always about the money. It's not always about the position. Make sure you work for people that you trust, that you have confidence in, and you know are ethical. Because if they're not, that's gonna come back to haunt you. What does the state director do? Basically, I'm in charge of everything stateside, outside of DC. We maintain good communications with our DC office. We have 3 offices, Charleston, Morgantown, and Martinsburg, West Virginia. When she's in state, we handle our travel and events. And, mostly we try to make sure when she's in state, she gets what, she has the support to be a good senator. And it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. You get to see all of West Virginia. I just spent a lot of time in the northern panhandle by Wheeling and Weirton. But, if somebody loves West Virginia, it's a great job. Because most of my travel, I'm often asked, how often am I in DC? I always say as little as possible. About 3 or 4 times a year, I get to DC. So what are these top 10 lessons that I want to share with you? First one's easy, hustle. Hustle. Energy, work hard. It seems obvious, but it's important. When you're not sure what to do, start working. Gosh, I'm not sure what we should do. Start working. And I know it seems trite. This actually comes from a t-shirt, which I think says a lot. Who's marketing in here? Marketing?
Or marketing minor.
So good, that'll work. I love going to Google Images and seeing what pops up when you put in the word, because to me, it's almost a focus group. Like, what image do people associate with? This is one of the top images for hustle. But your work ethic, how you hustle, how you get things done, will be seen by others, seen by your peers, seen by your superiors, seen by your subordinates, and that becomes your reputation. So when in doubt, hustle. This is President Steve Kopp. He was president when I worked here. This is his tie. He passed away in office, which was a horrible thing. And I miss him because he was a great guy to work for, but he would work tirelessly. He would get to the office every day at 6 a.m. in a suit. I would get there about 7 a.m. and he would complain. It's already an hour away, 7 a.m. I'm like, buddy, I'm here at 7 a.m. in a suit. That's pretty good, I thought. But he truly believed that we have a finite window to accomplish things. We have to work hard within that window. That's the hustle, and he's the one that taught me that. Get it in writing. You'll hear this throughout your whole career, and friends of mine, even at my age, in the 50s, still screw it up. If someone offers you a job, man, I trust this guy, I've known him for 30 years, we shook hands, got to have it right. Before you give your notice to that existing job, got it right. That's a legal contract. If you do it without that, you are taking a risk of being completely out of work. That goes with everything in life. When it's in writing, not only are you protected, people you're dealing with are protected too. Get it in writing. Super critical and a mistake people still make all the time. A friend of mine just screwed it up recently, now has to look for a job unemployed. Write your plans in pencil. This is a little personal, but I wanted to bring this up. You may have your life charted out pretty well. I'm going to get this degree, get this job, start my own business, work here, go back to France, whatever's next. Things change. May change in your life, the lives around you, opportunities, industries change. You have to be ready for this. This is me in 1983, and I'm going to be an FBI agent. Now, I realized later that's not what I want to do. One, it just seemed like what I wanted to do. So it was my focus, went in the military, studied criminal justice. It was kind of a real passionate thing for me. And then one day I was like, this isn't what I want. I knew more about myself, that I was on the wrong trajectory. So it was good that I had my plans in pencil. Because the last thing you want to do is do all this work and get there. It's not what you really want. Or your life changes. So plans in pencil. Attitude is everything. This is very, very important, especially as you enter a new workforce or a new position. There's a guy named Sean, a Marshall grad intern. I worked for a marketing agency in Charleston. Kind of quiet. He was from Southern West Virginia. He would always smile, stop by your house. Hey, can I help you with anything? Anything you need help with? No, I'm good right now. Okay. Never thought much about it. So after he was an intern, we hired him. After he was hired for a while, we promoted him. And then he left, become a faculty member here at Marshall, teaching PR. I thought, Sean's young for that. But he had his master's, he could teach at the college level, and he did. So one time I stopped by one of his classes because he was doing how to succeed at a marketing firm. I thought, oh, that's interesting. He had a whole PowerPoint about walking around and asking anyone if they needed help and smiling and being positive and don't engage in office gossip. And it was his attitude, his positive attitude. I didn't realize Sean was even doing this. But guess what? That's why we hired him. That's why he got the job at Marshall. That's why he moved on from Marshall to even bigger things. So that attitude is your calling card. If you have a good one, that'll be the card. If you have a bad one, that'll be the card. Maintain that positive attitude. Try to find what's positive in what you're doing. Don't stab too deeply. This is political. My first politician I worked for was the Commissioner of Agriculture in West Virginia. Great guy. Hired me off the street, never worked really in politics before. And by the way, it's really creepy if you Google stab. Don't do that because you get all sorts of, but don't stab too deeply. So this is the guy who told me that. This is Gus Douglas. The guy with the beard is me in the 90s. One time we were not getting along with another politician. Fighting with him. Like, you know, I'm tired of this guy. We got to do something. Attack. Don't stab him too deeply, Bill. You might need him later. Kind of stab him a little bit. Make your point, if unintended. Don't go crazy. When you're younger, you have to win and be competitive. You have to move forward. Take it easy. There's nothing wrong with hustle. There's nothing wrong with being ambitious. But when you're in a competitive process, especially something like politics, don't lose your way on that because it's easy to do. Be reasonable because that person that you're against, maybe your business partner down the road, maybe your client, maybe your customer, maybe your boss. Stab too deeply. That's stuck with me. Ask for help and help others. Kind of obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people want to get to a job, want to work for a certain company. Find somebody. Read about them online. Get all the information you can. Hey, I heard you work there. How can I get a job there? Ask for help. Be surprised when they see that initiative. Everybody has hiring issues right now. If you express interest, they will respond. And also, once you get there, help others. That's what you're supposed to do. You give back, especially to graduates of Marshall. Made you who you are. Help others. Pretty simple. I don't see everybody doing it at times. This is important. When in charge, be in charge when you're not followed. When in charge, be in charge when you're not followed. United States Army taught me this, and it's really served me well. Because when you get 30 officers in a room, and we've all been taught for 4 years, you're the greatest and you can do anything and you're smart, and, you know, you're confident and you've been trained, go. Everybody wants to be a leader. It doesn't work that way. Whoever's the leader leads, but it's important to be a good follower too. And this is tough, especially if you get a bunch of alpha dog, gung-ho people in a room. Everybody wants to be in charge. That does not work. It doesn't work in the military, it doesn't work in public relations, and it doesn't work in business. When you're in charge, be in charge. When you're following, be a good follower. Hey, what do you need? If you have an idea, speak up. You know, when I worked for President Kopp, I would say, hey, how about this? Nope, we're going to go this way. Are you sure? Yep, we're going that way. That's respecting leadership. You know, if you have ideas, that's great. Share them, but don't undermine that leader. Support them. And that, you'd be surprised how many other people see that. And that is being a leader when you're in charge, and being a follower when you're following. If you're leaving, leave. One of my favorites. My wife just went through this. If you're leaving a job, this is not your cue to fix everything in the place where you worked. You know, this place is awful. I'm so glad to be leaving. Hate it. There could be a reference for you for the rest of your life. Just leave. I read an article. I was leaving one of my many jobs. Read an article, I think it was Inc. magazine, that said, make one small suggestion. You know, it'd be great if we get a new coffee machine. That coffee machine's not very good. Great to have a new coffee machine. Thanks. Don't think it's your role as someone leaving a place to fix it, because you're leaving. I mean, you're leaving. But I see this time and time again. Just leave. If you think it's wrong, it probably is. This comes from the military too. If you're in an ethical situation, you're in a fork in the road where you've got to decide one or the other, and you're bothered by it, thinking about it a lot. I'm not sure this is the right thing. Probably isn't. Because you're double clutching, you're ruminating on the decision. I don't know, should we do that? If you're doing that, pause, something's wrong. Brace that, think about that, because something's wrong. And again, I saw this a lot in the military. Man, I'm not sure we should do this. This doesn't seem right, because it's not. Find out what's troubling you. Why are the gears spinning? Analyze it and get the right decision. Because that's your Jiminy Cricket. That's your subconscious saying something's wrong here. Drill down on that, find out what that is so you make the right decision. Find a work-life balance. Every time I say this, I'll laugh. I'll get right on. But it's tough. I finally have come to terms, late 40s, early 50s. I love to work. I really like what I do. It's creative, it's challenging, it's maddening at times. But I'm very lucky to do what I do, and I appreciate that. It makes me want to work hard. But I've also got 2 little girls, and they're a lot of fun. I've got a wife. I've got hobbies. I've got friends. I've got to balance all that. And it sounds easy. From what I hear, I'm going to sound like an old guy for a second. From what I hear, your generation is a lot better at this than my generation. I mentioned President Cohen. He overworked himself, and he's not with us anymore. That's very sad to me. You know, this is my daughter Maggie. It's when I worked at the chamber. I love that photo. But I'm not really, can't tell, not doing the work-life balance thing very well right there. So pay attention to that. Why do we work so hard? Why are we spending the time in this lecture hall listening to me, bettering ourselves? Enjoy Maggie. Or whoever it is. That's the idea. Just remember that. Because there's a saying I love, no one on their deathbed goes, you know, I wish I'd worked more. That's awesome. And no one does that. That's not what you have on your deathbed. Maintain that work-life balance and constantly recalibrate your thinking about it. One extra lesson, number 11, get across that stage. What do I mean by that? Graduate. I mean, 9 years to get my undergraduate. I took a 2.5-year break in the middle of it. It changes you, it changes your trajectory, it changes your family, it changes your earning potential, it changes your likelihood of keeping a job once you have it. It increases your likelihood of leadership and advancement. Get that degree. And the best thing about it, those of us who are local, changes West Virginia. We have the lowest college attainment rate in the nation. We've had it since 1970. And I'm not going to use the word, when people think we're dumb from West Virginia, that's in there. And I'm real quick to go, well, you know, gosh, I got my doctorate, but, you know, I hear you. You know, I'm real quick to shoot back on that because I don't like not dumb. We're not dumb. We're smart. And unfortunately, we need that certificate, that credential, that degree that we've earned to show that. Get across that stage. You don't just change you, change everything about West Virginia. Even if you're not from here, you still change. You came here to learn. Get that diploma. Don't cheat, but do about anything else to get across it, because the bureaucracy can be maddening. Make sure you graduate. Most important thing you'll hear today, get across that stage. That's kind of all I got. I know there are cookies over here. Any questions about what I said today? Any disagreements? I bludgeoned you into Don't step too deeply. Any questions?
Have any advice for them once they graduate? And-
Did I totally fail the whole assignment? Did I not give the right stuff?
Oh, no.
Advice.
First real job.
Go in easy. Show hustle. Yeah, I'm here to learn. 2 things. First day, dress like everybody else. Find out how they dress like them. It's fancy, be fancy. Not a clothes horse, a lot of my friends. Blend into that culture as best you can. Show that hustle, learn. You're going to make little mistakes. When you make them, correct them, learn from them. Everybody does. Everybody does. The people you work with did when they got there. As far as the second thing, you got to start somewhere. You got to break in. You got to get going. It's tough. It took me with my master's 18 months to get my first PR job. I was working in television, making very low wages, and I was so angry, and I was like, I'm never going to get hired. And 18 months went by. 18 long months. Why did I get this master's? It will pay off. You just got to find the right thing and get it. And it's tough. But maybe the most important advice I'd have for a new job, when you interview, hey, got anything you'd like to add? Yes, I'd really like this job. This sounds great. If you may not really want this job, this sounds great. I'm excited about it. I just told my parents last night that, boy, I hope I get this. Give me something. Any last questions? No, not really. Oh, awesome. Great. Show enthusiasm. Be interested, even if you're kind of not. Take it a little bit. Sir?
I was gonna, something you mentioned during your presentation that I heard someone else say once was that before you apply for a job, try and like get a connection with someone there first. Because they said if you just like send in a resume like everyone else, it's like much less likely. Would you have any advice on like ways to try and get in touch with someone that's within an organization?
You have the benefit of magical things like Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and things of that nature. That usually creeps us out. Oh, this guy contacted me once, you know, and it shouldn't, but it kind of does, but there's still intel that can be learned from it. That's where your network comes in. That's where helping others come in. My wife constantly says, why are you helping all these people get jobs? Well, because people help me get these jobs. The way it works. And that's that reciprocity from that. But it can be a challenge. But, you know, think of a big employer like Nucor that's moving to Mason County, $3.2 billion investment. They're going to be hiring a lot of people. That's a big network of folks. And probably the biggest card you can play is Marshall. Go over and talk to my buddy Matt, the Alumni Association, saying, hey, do we have anybody who works at Boeing? Yeah, this guy graduated 2 years ago. Even if he's in a different part of the earth, he can tell you the culture of Boeing. And if you call, hey, buddy, I'm graduating Marshall in 2 months. Hey. So play that Marshall card as you need to. Or the West Virginia card if you're from here. Any other questions? Look at the job fair. You got it. But it's been fun. Love my career. Very blessed. I had no idea where it was going. Never have. So that's why it's in pencil. Thank you all. Jeanette, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, good luck at the job fair.
Yeah,
Y'all are
thank you.
going over there to, maybe get an opportunity.
Hey Jeanette, how do we let you know that we attended the career
Well, that's
fair?
a good question.